Give me your tired, your poor and hurt old masses, yearning to breathe free. Come now before another moment passes. Bring them to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Do it to the least of these. You've done it unto me. Who will light your way, bring you from the dark of night into a bright day? Who will guide you till you find an end to your suffering? Look no further, it is I. Bring me your lost, your brave and broken travelers, searching here for peace, not one too far, for my strong arms are open. Rest in your release, illuminate your mind, seek you will find. Lift the clouds of your oppression, time now to break free. Who will light your way, lead you from the dark of night into a bright day? Who will guide you till you find an end to your suffering? Look no further, it is I. From the fire of freedom glows a worldwide welcome. Taste and see, your exile is over, you are home. Come to me. Come to me, yeah. Who will light your way, lead you from the dark of night into a brighter day? Who will guide you till you find an end to your suffering? Look no further, it is I. Look no further, it is I. Look no further, it is I. Give me your tired, your poor and hurt old masses, yearning to breathe free. Bring them to me.
Good morning, Heart and Soul. So I am so grateful for Gary Lynn Floyd and his musicianship, his songwriting. Most of what he sings, most of what we experience from Gary Lynn Floyd is what he's written. And so this morning, I am just feeling like I'm taking in this notion of look no further, it is I. What just comes to me on this adventure in faith is that this is also an election year. And so I'm saying to you, look no further, it is I. Now, let's be clear. When I say it is I, don't be looking at me. It is the universal voice of each one of us taking personal responsibility for what is and what's possible. There's a part of me that just wants to fall out right now because it's huge. There's a part of my being and my thinking that feels like we've been asleep at the switch. We've been complaining. Thank you for everything. I have no complaint whatsoever. Why? Because I know how life gets to be the way it is. And I know that I must begin with my own thinking, with my own knowing. And so I know that if I just complain, if I just get into the gossip cycle, if I just continue the story, that I am playing in the field of infinite possibility and making some choices. From that place of fear, is this making sense, y'all? From a place of fear, we are literally selecting an energetic path. So the moment we start weeping and wailing about something that hadn't happened, and may not ever happen, but it's happening in our minds, in our psyche. The moment we start, I think you'll understand if I say tripping, the moment we start tripping, we are informing the universe of our vibration. And the universe, now when I say universe, I mean the ultimate power, the omnipotent, energetic presence everywhere, always present and being responsive to our energy, our implant into the universal mind, into the one mind. Are we all aware that we are forever imprinting the mind? So when we have thoughts of fear and thoughts of when we go from 0 to 1,005, in our thinking, in our energetic path, in our energetic building of our personal and often collective reality. Because we have race mind. We have that collective mind that people who agree with you. When you could be simply at the airport or on BART, and sometimes it's just that debate or that whatever it was. The article, whatever is happening. The two of you have just engaged universal law that says wherever two touch and agree, there in the midst of them is the creative power. That's what's happening. I've come this morning to say be very, very careful. Be very, very careful. We are seeing the manifestation, the demonstration of our thoughts and our fears projected out. And a lot of us do so from a place of innocence/ignorance. Where we don't know. If we knew and understood, we wouldn't do that. Like there's several things in our life we're like, what? That's what I'm doing? Like there are folks who don't understand how credit works. And when they realize it, they're often like, what? I'll never pay that off if I keep going like this. Well, that's the design. So once you understand how the thing works, you can make some other choices. Notice I said you can make some other choices. This is not magic. So sitting here and having an aha does not transform your life. There must be an action. Let me be clear, not an action. There's an action that must be replicated consistently so that it becomes a habit And it is now the way you live. It's now the way you think, not the way you thought one time. Not a decision you considered, but a decision you made, and you exercised it, activated it so consistently that it's now you. I was talking to a sister friend just yesterday, and she was telling me that she made some changes and she lost 20 pounds. And she talked a bit about, like kind of what was in the way at first. The way that she thought, the behaviors that were in place before. And then once she shifted that, everything changed. So she's no longer the person. The person who was 20 pounds heavier thought a certain way, acted a certain way, behaved a certain way, believed something different than the new person. You see what I'm saying? The person who shops in a different section of the grocery store. I know exactly. Makes different choices completely, yes. And we want that. It's about everything. We want that about our finances. We want that about our relationships, so we see it differently. So our thoughts are different about relationship. Because here's the key. The relationship ain't going to be different till you think about it in a different way, till you hold it in a different place, in a different consciousness. Is this making sense? All right. Oh, Lord. Okay, because there really is a talk. Ooh, okay, let me just. So look, we begin summer school in a minute. We have just over 2 weeks. And we already told you that the get ready for this is the booklet, just a little booklet. Please get the booklet. It works. What I'm wanting to set up in this 2-week runway for summer school is, somebody told me a couple of decades ago that I'm a serial preacher. Well, I'm getting ready to go there. So we're going to do a little series that will allow us, or at least 3 parts, that will support us in our get ready for summer school. Now, you may not even come to summer school. Don't let your unavailability to summer school cause you to miss your blessing, though. If you can be there, be there. Be a part of it. Participate. If you can't, still get the booklet and work it out. It's very, pardon me, it's very simple. And in Gary Lynn Floyd's song, there's a part of the lyric that says, illuminate your mind, seek, and you'll find. That's what we're doing. So in the little booklet, it works. The author, who goes by his initials, R-E, J, J-R-E, whatever it is. It doesn't matter, because he's saying it's not about him. It's about the work. And here's the work. He says, to get what you want is no more mysterious or uncertain than the radio waves all around you. Now, I need to pause here because some of us are thinking, well, I didn't know there were radio waves all around me. And what he's speaking of is the energy that surrounds each and every one of us. If sometimes I remember as a kid that I very much like to sit by the window and in the sun and look at the little particles and remind myself that there's always more here than I can see. And so I would, in my life as a youngster and even as an adult, part of my, okay, I know. Sometimes when it's not a part of what I'm being guided to share, I can't get the idea. So right now, I can't quite, but I'm going to do it anyhow. Come on. So I've been fascinated. From the first time as a youngster I saw these, I thought if I said that it would come to me. But it's the designs, the graphic images that if you look at it one way, you see the young woman or you see the old woman. Optical illusion. Thank you very much. So even as a youngster, I found myself very attracted to those opportunities where I would have to, it felt like kind of split my mind. And so I would practice seeing them both at the same time. Because there was always something in me that wanted to see beyond. I didn't have this terminology. I just had this desire, this inner push and drive. And so I would, this is not why you've come. So the idea here is seeing, feeling beyond, being aware that there's more that's always happening. Does it make sense if I do that? Okay. So he goes on to say that tune in correctly and you get a perfect result. So there is an energetic presence that you must tune into. It's not tuning into you. Do you see what I'm saying? It simply is. You must go, right here, please. I'm available. I'm willing. Sometimes it means you're going to have to get some stuff out the way so that it can have a place in your thinking, in your awareness. Does that make sense? If we're talking about your house and I'm giving you a brand new blender, you're going to have to get that other stuff off the counter in order to use it, in order to have the benefit of it, yes? And so it is in your consciousness. In order to have a new experience, a new outcome, you must release whatever the old is that you've been doing. Because what? We all know it. If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always gotten. Yes? And so in order to have that shift, it's not to try to change the axiom, it's to change you. You're the active part in this. Change the way you are in this. So he says, tune in correctly. Oh, that's a hint. It's a huge hint. There's a correct way to tune in. And I'm going to quit hollering at y'all. I could easily just say there's a correct way to tune in based on the fact that he's specifically saying tune in correctly and you get a perfect result. But to do this, it is necessary to know something of your equipment and have a plan of operation. I would say it like this. You got to know what you're working with. You can't work it well until you know what you're working with. Yes? And that's what we want to do. We want to establish in our consciousness that it works and then discern how do we work it intentionally. Not how do we get worked, but how do we work it? Yes? And it wants to be worked so that we're not manipulating it. How do we work it? How do we utilize it? How do we engage it? That's the question, yes? He says it's necessary to know what you're working with. He says, you have within you a mighty power, anxious and willing to serve you. I don't know that I would have chosen anxious, but the bottom line is it's there for you. Get thee to it. Yes? All right. A power capable of giving you that which you earnestly desire. Now, what's always exciting when there are new people in one of our foundation classes is often it's the new people that burn the rubber. They get right to it. And they're not old people, the people who have been around longer and have made up ideas about how it works and the time they thought it didn't work. And they've talked about it with people who they think have proven it didn't work in these circumstances. But the new folks don't have any of that. That is stopping their action or interfering with their thought process. Because they're like, what? And we used to joke. We used to laugh amongst ourselves because in those first classes, everybody has a report on getting parking places where there are none. They immediately report, oh my goodness. And so they're beginning to use this where there is no resistance. Yeah, you heard me. The key is to use it even where you have oppositional thinking, even where you have doubt. Yeah? Okay. This power is capable and willing to carry to completion and perfect conclusion every earnest desire of your objective mind. Now, what made me tell y'all about the parking places for new people is because there's a part of me as I read this that has me wonder, why are people getting up shouting? Why is there not hollering and screaming and dancing in the aisles? Because this right here is good news. The degree to which it's good news that you may or may not include in your plan, in your living, has to do with how much resistance you have to believing that this is so. So, without looking around, all eyes on me, just a light raise of the finger so the people behind you can't see, but I can see. Expose to me, please, whether you believe that this is so. So just a little finger is fine. You don't have to expose it. Somebody's like, no, I'm going to wave it. Everybody needs to see. So look, this is important because if you don't believe it, it can never be true for you. Believing it doesn't make it true for you. Acting, living the belief will make it true for you. You understand? There's still more to do. But if you don't believe it, and believe it is different than just saying, I believe that. Because one, your face has to agree with you. You understand what I'm saying? There really is an inner awareness. And this notion of, I believe it. See, that ain't so. You may be working on it, and we're happy that you're on the runway toward believing, but you ain't there. And when we are there, our life matches the belief. Yeah? Okay. So it starts with, and it works, it really, the very first step he'll tell you is decide what it is you want. Now, that's the rest of the year for some of y'all. And for some, it's going to be the end of next year. Because we are so not in tune with what we really want. Why? Because we already believe we can't have that. So we just mess around in the mediocre options that we think might be achievable. Oh, I'm sorry. Not. So y'all know this is true, right? Yeah, and I'm just fan. Just do a little, just fan. Well, just pass the fans out. There fans usually in the chair. Just go ahead, work it out, y'all, because I know it just got hot in here. All of a sudden, from the inside out. So look, this notion of discerning what you really, I'll say it like this, what you really, 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 really want. What you really want. There's so many of us who have never been asked that. And if we have, we don't believe it was an authentic question. And so we start, part of our editing program for that is we will decide that they don't really want to know what I want. Let me see something that I think would be affordable for them, or I don't even want to reveal that I have the want that I have, and so I just deny wanting, and so just get me anything. You know, just, oh no, in fact, or no, don't get me anything. And sometimes that is rooted in undeservability. You know, there's so many layers of possibility in that. But it doesn't matter. There's nothing about this teaching that requires that you understand where you came from. In this, and what I love about it is that it invited me to just step out of it. What? You mean I can just hop out of this mess? I don't have to. Remember the axiom? If you made your bed, you have to lay in it. When I got here, I was like, what? I can just get up out of this dang bed and go and act like it wasn't even mine. Like that. I don't know nothing about that bed over there. Yes. That you can really just, drop it like it's hot and burning your hand. Let it go. And move on. But the move on, make sure you're letting it go. This is the subtle aspect of it. Because often when we pay attention, when we get where we're going, we look up and we got a handful of what we don't want. And what's getting ready to spoil where we are. We have brought the mess into the newness. Not intentionally. It was that we didn't let it go. So we look up, our pockets are full of it. You see, we just tracked it right in like Pigpen. We just tracked it right in, going to the new so we can recreate the old in the new. And then about midway that we say, this don't work. And unfortunately, because you're not in the classes, you're not doing the full spiritual practice work, there's nobody to tell you, baby, you didn't even do it. Look at the track marks. You took all the old and tried to create new out of the old. Come on now. Ernest Holmes, so that's from It Works. Ernest Holmes, in the Science of Mind, what's commonly referred to as the textbook, in that work, one of the first four sections is the way it works. And Ernest Holmes says this, he says, in our ignorance of the truth, we have misused the highest power we possess. In our ignorance, we're not intentionally messing it up, getting it wrong. We don't know any better. Here's my thing, though. If you're here, you have an opportunity to know better. And y'all know that axiom. If you know better, you do better. And that's the intention. That's what we think we're up to. The master teacher, Yeshua, summed up his whole philosophy in this simple statement. And this is Ernest Holmes' voice. It is done unto you, what y'all? Come on. As you believe, as you are in the midst of declaring, owning, accepting the belief, as you were in the midst of that, it is done unto you according to that. So this is not retribution for 5 years ago. It's that you think there's going to be retribution from 5 years ago, so you bring it present just as if you have a clock that is set in 5 years, blow my life up. Yeah? Okay. It is done unto you as you believe. While you are yet believing, you are designing your life. Okay? In this scripture, Matthew 8:13, but it doesn't actually say, it is done unto you as you believe. In this scripture, Jesus says to a centurion, go thy way as thou hast believed, so be it unto thee. That's what we typically interpret as it is done unto you as you believe. The actual scripture is that interchange between the master teacher and the centurion who has come to have his son healed, but says, oh, you don't have to come to my house. It's like, well, I can get them. You don't have to go. Because, see, I do this. I'm in charge of folks. As the centurion, I run a whole little organization, and they do what I say do. When I say go, they go. When I say come, they come. So I understand the power of that. I need you to understand what's happening here in this exchange. So the centurion says, I know the power of your word. You don't have to leave where you are right now. If you say it, it's so. Come on now. If you say it, it's so. You don't have to come to my house. You don't have to send me a prayer cloth. You don't have to do all that. Now, here's the thing. If you need that, you best get it. If you need a prayer cloth, there is no saving you till you get the prayer cloth. You understand why? Because it's done unto you as you are believing. So if you believe that, you need to do whatever it is that's in alignment with that belief, or you're going to be forever in struggle. Now, you can change your belief as you go along, but you're not likely to upgrade a belief you haven't satisfied. Okay. So you have a belief. And let's just say the belief is, Rev, I hear all that, but I'm going to need I need at least an affirmation card. You don't have to give me a prayer cloth, but I'm going to need something. Because this is, and whatever you fill in after the blank works. Because this is hard, and other people had, and my sister had an affirmation card and it worked for her, so I'm going to need at least an affirmation card. If you believe that, you best get you an affirmation card. Because the energy of fighting that, of thinking that somebody's saying you best do it without one, you could spend a decade in that little challenge and just fighting that. I say just do it. And once you do it, you release so much energy that you're no longer tussling with you and wishing you didn't need it. Well, I want, but no, I'm not. Get it and forget, and afraid to pull it out. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. So it's okay, because you cannot live from other than where you are. And few of us are where we intend to be. And I'm saying, we got it going on, and it's a wonderful place to be right now, all of that, but you're going to have to change if you're going to live, because that's what life is. It's the evolution of your life. Translation, change. So the idea would be to not fight that, to not use valuable energy and time fighting what is for you right now. Struggling, making it all a struggle. Yeah? All right. So do it. Get the card, get the prayer cloth, get the whatever it is you need, and have an intention of whatever the shift would be that you want to make. You want to be able to do it without so you gradually do that. Y'all did that in typing class. At first you did it with all of the support and resources around where the letters are, and then there was a point at which you let that go. Musicians, you were just the tricycle, exactly. So you're there with the training wheels at first. And then there's a point at which none of you go back and say, you know what, could you put some training wheels on my bike? Because you're past that now. It was fine when you're there. When you're there, you need them. But when you get past it, you're ready for the next thing. Yes? Okay, so we're getting ready for the next thing in all of this. So there is a, Lord, maybe that's part two. Ooh. Okay, I already got part two ready. That just makes it easy for me. Because that's how long I've been talking? All right, so look, last week when we were here celebrating those in sacred service, we gave some special attention to our licensed practitioners. And in that special attention, it was an offering to say, as you are going through these changes, as you are making up your mind, tell the truth. Right now, it's XYZ. But what I want for my life is ABC. And so, what I want to remind you of is that our practitioners are here to support you in times of challenge. You know, when you feel like, oh, I can just barely get to one, because I desperately need some help in changing my mind, changing my thinking, changing my outcome. But also, someone has gotten the promotion, and let me tell you, there are so many promotions that come with a feeling of when are they going to find out that I'm not the one? When are they going to regret that so you're happy and you're celebrating, but right here in the shadow is the thought of, I can't keep this up, the imposter kind of syndrome. This idea that I don't deserve this. Maybe there's some part of it I do, but they gave you the whole job with a whole expectation and a whole description. And there's some part of you that's feeling less than that. Get thee to a practitioner so that you can get support for the celebration and the knowing of the truth about who you are in this and in all things. Does that make sense? So there's that. There's the opportunity for the practitioner session. And there's also, right here in this room over here to my left, after service, there's prayer. Now, it's a more of a laser prayer than a practitioner session. It's a dedicated time to go over whatever it is that's up and work out and have a plan and do the things. This is simply prayer. And when I say simply prayer, transform your life. Possibility. So I want to leave you with some resources in that respect. Oh, Lord. And I'm just getting to my close. Oh. Yes, okay. Many of us over the years have taken, it don't matter about that. Let me just share with you. Thomas Troward, in the Dore lectures on mental science, says this. And there was a point at which I had a little family study group, and we would recite this every week and rewrote it for our own purposes. I'm sharing it with you in Thomas Troward's words. My mind is a center. In fact, I'm going to encourage you to say this first paragraph with me. My mind is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. This means the production of something beyond what has gone before, something entirely new, not included in the past experience, though proceeding out of it by an orderly sequence of growth. Just pause in that. Breathe that in. Allow that to Allow that to feed you, to come into a divine awareness of how this can be for you. Here's what I know for sure. I know it requires that you remember who you are. And Gary Lynn Floyd says that if you ever forget, I'll help you remember. I want you to know that Heart and Soul is here to remind you who you are and who you're here to be. Please remember, do whatever it takes to remember who you are in truth. I give you Gary Lynn Floyd.
Do you remember you are love at the heart of your being? Do you remember there is more to this life than what you're seeing? Let me remind you, you are beautiful by far. You've nothing left to prove when you remember who you are. If you ever forget, I will help you remember who you are and who you're here to be. Sometimes it's hard to make a way through the dark, but I will see for you and help you remember. Remember who you are. Do you remember there is peace in the middle of this storm? Do you remember you have all you need inside to keep you warm? Let me remind you, you're the dust from a star. Your essence is revealed when you remember who you are. If you ever forget, I will help you remember who you are and who you're here to be. Sometimes it's hard to make a way through the dark, but I will see for you and help you remember. You are stronger than you think you are, braver than you seem. The life that lies ahead of you is like nothing you have ever seen. If you ever forget, I will help you remember who you are and who you're here to be. Sometimes it's hard to make a way through the dark, but I will see for you and help you remember. If you ever forget, I will help you remember who you are and who you're here to be. Sometimes it's hard to make a way through the dark, but I will see for you and help you remember. Remember who you are. Remember who